6:43 here on a Wednesday morning. We thank you for joining us here, and we are welcomed and joined here by Metro Sheriff Joe Lombardo for our Morning Cup of Joe segment. Sheriff, good to see you once again.
Good morning, John. Good to see you.
So yesterday we saw the presentation from Metro Police at the Clark County Commission meeting, specifically about crime on the Las Vegas Strip and the resort corridor downtown. We've talked about it before, the increased patrols. Aside from that, aside from the operation that Metro is doing, what else is being done to try and sort of snuff out the crime we've been seeing on the Strip?
Well, that's a good question, and it's been on the front of everybody's mind here in the last couple months. And so right now we're looking at it at like a 60-day window on what the crime looks like 60 days ago compared to now. And if you paid attention to what Captain Dory Corrin talked about yesterday, we are showing success in our response to it. So I think it's both an internal and an external problem. Internal being private security within the casinos and what they're doing proactive, whether they're overt or covert, or whether they're confronting the people at the doorway as they come in and evaluating whether they're actually customers or not. Levels of intoxication. I think that it all goes along with what we're trying to achieve externally. So in the early throes of this, our enforcement model was a huge omnipresence, black and whites, cops in uniforms, don't screw up because the cop is around the corner kind of tactic. Now we have increased that tactic to covert police officers, so you don't know who's standing next to you. They intermingle amongst the crowds whenever they tend to gather to try to get intel and or do enforcement. To include our more, I guess the best way to describe it is our tactical units, like we have SWAT and our Homeland Security saturation teams presenting themselves during the midnight hours along the Strip corridor to ensure that we provide a level of security and safety for our tourists.
And it certainly doesn't help that with social media, the skirmishes we see, we just showed some video, it ends up on social media so fast, and the perception maybe and the reality are sometimes can be two different things. One thing we should point out also, we've talked about this, there's the Security Chiefs Association here in Las Vegas. That's sort of all of the resorts, the Speedway, the major event centers work so closely with Metro Police. Maybe talk a little bit about what those interactions are like when it comes to increasing enforcement on the Strip.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very robust relationship. They meet on a monthly basis. So Captain Dory Corrin and the Security Chiefs Association, that would be the director level of security chiefs. They meet on a monthly basis with the captain of Convention Center Area Command, and they spitball ideas back and forth and what one particular property may be doing as compared to another, and whether it's a good idea or not, and then all of them adopt that policy if it is a good idea. And then on top of that, I myself meet with the corporate security level once a month, and we talk about more global 30,000-foot level problems that the casino environment may be dealing with, and what we can do together in far as partnership. I'm very proud of that relationship, and if you look across the United States, you probably can't mimic that relationship that we have with the security chiefs. And an important piece on that is the fire department is included in that aspect, because they spend a significant amount of their time on the Strip corridor too, for medical calls and, as you can imagine, emergency crisis calls. So we have a really robust working relationship as a result of that.
Well, Sheriff, let's also talk about something off the Strip here. It's something that we covered here, the shooting death of 37-year-old Kemi Bird. She was the woman who was possibly the victim of road rage on I-15, shut down the freeway for hours a couple of weeks ago. Tell us where the investigation stands right now. This is a challenging case for detectives.
Yeah, it truly is, and unfortunately I don't have much more to add than what you just presented. So in early throws, we thought we had a significant find of evidence on the opposite side of the freeway. We thought maybe it was a random shooting across the freeway. We found a bullet casing, and we determined that casing was not related to Miss Bird's demise, but we pulled video cameras in the area, interviewed ex-boyfriends. As you can imagine, everything that goes along with an investigation. And right now we're classifying it as a road rage event. We've reached out to the public. We're asking the public to help us in this assistance because the evidence that we currently have is very limited. That's not to say that we're not putting all our resources to bear to try and get the suspect in this case. And it's not considered a cold case by any means, and we'll continue to pursue it. But what I would ask of you, John, and the rest of the media outlets is to help us reach out to the public and ask for any and all information that anybody might have as a result of the Miss Bird's demise.
Absolutely. It's a very important case, and certainly we're not letting it go, and I know you guys aren't either. Sheriff Lombardo, we thank you very much for joining us again this morning. If you at home have a question for Sheriff Lombardo, you can, of course, go to 8newsnow.com, submit it through our website, and find out if your question is answered every Wednesday. It is